Bringing in a new character for the show was a really good idea from PR. It keeps things fresh, not to mention sell more stuff for Bandai. The characters that we got to know for around 20 episodes get to play with something new. Six Rangers have come from all kinds of backgrounds. Some are robots, some get possessed by evil, made of liquid metal. One's an energy ball, other times it's just a simple grudge.
Robo Knight.
Yes, I did pick a character from Megaforce. The reason is because RK is the most interesting character they had, since he was dormant for thousands of years and is a robot. He doesn't understand basic human things like emotion or people's actions. So he acts like a kid in a park, finding out stuff, playing around, wondering why people do this and that. For most of his focus episodes, he wandered around the city going through books in a library, wondered how emotions worked, tried to be funny, sometimes got taken advantage of, and he was the first time I didn't balk at a PR's Christmas clip show. He gives you a different look on that season. We knew more about Robo Knight's backstory, origins, and motivations than the Megaforce cast.
Ivan.
He was more of a goofball than most Six Rangers. It was actually good because we know Prince Philip is one of those rich guys who are very formal and stuck up. It would have sucked if Ivan followed that. He still acts awkward because he's from several hundred years in the past, and Ivan's a knight. He has to be pure, honorable, and tries to be perfect. But when you put him with Coda, everything else goes out the door. This gives the show some good comedy episodes because he puts in 200% and treats everything as a challenge. He would go to a volcano to throw out the garbage. You can say he does this in order to cope with what he had to live through, being stuck in fury for all those years, being used to harm people, drained of energy, you named it.
Dagger On.
His backstory was pretty unique. It was interesting with the whole princess and frog and genie and the lamp getting stuck stuff. Dagger On is that drill sergeant, gotta wake up at 5 a.m., gotta do that 2-mile run. It's different, and I like that he had this long rivalry with Imperius. He also has this ancient mode, which is confusing. What mode is stronger? It always feels like they just use the old mode whenever they had to deal with old issues. I did like that Dagger On did lighten up. Snow Prince just told him off, so it shows that he can learn new things. He tries to fit in. I think that's why I put him in my list. He's a badass, will fight to the death and do anything for the team, but at the same time, you could see that he can relax.
Ryan.
He has a very good backstory, I might say even the best. He wasn't possessed to be evil, he was raised to be evil. It's such a sick story when you really delve into it. They got into a car accident and his father has to basically sell his son to save everyone. Think about how he felt for 10 years, then to see Ryan come back and be this destructive person, a kid who used to like playing with a fire truck, not to mention wanting to kill his own family, then in return Captain Mitchell has to stop him, basically doing the same thing. It's a crazy back and forth, and when that's resolved, we find out that he has this magic cobra that's going to kill Ryan every time he morphs. So it's basically a time bomb. Act after act after act, Ryan had to deal with so much crazy junk.
Eric.
Eric is the first person that has motivation to simply be better than someone else. He just wanted to prove that this average guy could work up the ranks, whether going into a rich school or becoming the leader of a team, no matter the cost. So he resented Wes because he felt that, like most rich people, everything is handed to him. They don't have to work for anything. Someone just dies and money falls in their lap. You can see why he's so against Wes. In some ways, he was right. Wes was always taking the easy way out, but what he really didn't notice was that Wes was trying to become the average guy. He didn't want the responsibilities to his father's corporation. He didn't want to be a businessman. But Wes and Eric were two sides of a coin, having the same goals, but Eric didn't want to believe Wes could change. So he literally became a ranger solely because he had to show him that he was the better choice, not only as a ranger, but to even lead the team. It's a very high concept backstory. It's confusing, but at the same time, you could understand it very simply.
Jem and Gemma.
While Turbo confused the rules on who's a Sixth Ranger, RPM broke them. You can't split up Jem and Gemma. They're a duo that loves to blow crap up. They hide behind that cute exterior of helping out Dr. K and the rest, but what's really going on is one big revenge on Vengeance. You can't get any worse than what Dr. K, Jem, and Gemma went through. They were just used as tools. They weren't human beings, just living computers to come up with solutions either for companies to make money off of or some really messed up organizations organization trying to do good. Yeah, it's Dr. K's fault that the world ended, but it was because of those bad people. To top it off, Jem and Gemma were screwed twice. They lived this crummy life at alphabet soup, had only K as a friend, then gets captured by Vengeance and was going to be turned into robots. Their crap luck went on forever, so when they got a chance, they found the gold and silver suits and started blowing up everything they could to get their hands on. They bordered on insane. They don't care why this is happening, they just plow through the problem and move on to the next one.
Tommy.
Tommy at his best is being the team's support and foil, not the leader. He feels more complete as being the Green Ranger than any other position. I liked him when he was taken against his will and turned evil. You were torn. In one case, Tommy was being used by Rita, hurting people that he just met, wanting to kill Jason, nearly killing Zordon. It was the first time the 5 Rangers were on their own. You didn't know if you wanted Tommy dead or to save him. It's the reason why people have this strong connection to him. He broke the rules of the show. He was more mysterious when his powers failed all the time. You didn't know if he would make it in time to fight, so he felt more vulnerable. When he became the show's leader, it was fine at first, but as the seasons went along, he didn't feel like Tommy anymore. His persona became larger than life, almost perfect. Never screwed up, everyone has to listen to him, so when he went into fights, you just thought, he's gonna win. He's Tommy, he does everything. When he came back in Dino Thunder, that worked out better. He went back to his original role, being mysterious, helping out when he can, and getting stuck inside Amber.
Mike.
He's my number 3 because it's a combination of the original Magna Defender and Mike. Yeah, everyone gets tired of Leo being obsessed with his brother, so people tend to not really care about Mike. But even after all that stuff that Mike went through, he was picked as Red Ranger. He then decides to die to save his brother. He survives a huge fall and then gets taken over by a ghost. That's a lot of stuff. And yet, he still respects the Magna Defender, even with his body trying to kill his brother and friends, because MD showed that his intentions were honorable. He did go in a direction that was bad, but what could have the Ghost really do? Both men ended up respecting each other. Magna Defender accepted he was wrong, and so he passed on the powers to Mike. Mike could have gotten some more focus in later parts of the season, but you still have to give it to him. He will die for the sake of the colony and get the LG team out of tough spots.
Trent.
We return to form with Trent. Just like MMPR, we had to have had an evil ranger, similar ideas, something evil perverting a good person. Then, Trent likes Kira, just like Tommy and Kim. Even their name initials match up. I didn't mind this. It never felt like a ripoff, because Dino Thunder knew how to write original characters. It's one thing to take elements from the past, it's another to take them, craft new characters, and make new conflicts. Unlike MMPR, where everyone totally accepted Tommy on the team after all the bad stuff he did, where talking about temp killing the Zords and nearly killing Zordon, all was forgiven. To Trent, who not only was fighting the white Dino Gem that you could see it was acting like a drug, to the Dino Thunder cast not trusting him, especially Connor. He hated Trent more than Kira, and he was using her emotions against the team. What was also perfect was that Tommy had a balanced response. On one hand, he knows that Trent was doing was bad. He hated him, but at the same time, he knows what it's like to be used, so he isn't on anyone's side. He stays in the middle ground. Tommy helps out the Dino Thunder team any way he can. At the same time, he's trying to get the cure to stop the evil Dino Gem from permanently turning Trent. The White Ranger arc in Dino Thunder not only had characters that are real, they can feel personal pain, but also uses Tommy's experience to grow his character. Tommy saves Trent in the show, and at the same time, Trent saves Tommy as a character.
Cam.
Till this day, Cam is still my number 1. It's because he's the most relatable to me. He's that guy who's always getting people out of jams, figures crazy, complicated stuff out, builds everything, and doesn't fall into the traditional nerd category. Basically a one-man army, which he became. He's the only samurai ranger in Ninja Storm. His father was turned into an animal, his mother died many years ago, so he's always had to fight his way through stuff. Don't get me wrong, the Wind and Thunder Rangers were good friends for Cam, but he had to build towards that, and Cam isn't perfect. He resented them too. Dustin and the bunch were really odd choices in getting the suits. But that's why his father is the sensei and not Cam. My favorite parts of the Six Ranger is how they affect the team dynamic, what they bring towards the season plot, they have a good balance between comedy and drama, and finally their usefulness. What do you think? Do you have similar favorites or very different ones, like say the Blue Centurion? And if you have ideas on a top 10 you'd like me to do, leave a comment down below. Next week, my favorite Ranger weapons.